This time last year, I had a conversation with somebody that started their sentence with, "You like a challenge," and obviously I like a challenge. And they challenged me to do 5 things different at the Business Summit. So one of the first things we did was form the Advisory Council. And we're going to close today with the Commercial SIG, and that Advisory Council, our Advisory Board, are actually going to run the SIG. It's going to be an interactive session with you as our attendees. We're going to have some discussions, and it's going to be interactive. Esri is not involved in it. It's actually the Advisory Board. The second challenge that I took on was to have live and interactive demos throughout this session. Third challenge was to show technology which we have in development. You know, what Gary Burgess showed yesterday, and we're going to follow up with that. Software that had just been released, things like Drone to Map. One of the new things happening after the break that I'm extremely excited about is we're bringing people from different industries. Had a conversation yesterday with somebody that said, "Helen, what industries do you not touch?" And I said, "I don't think I don't," and I listened and I thought and said, "I don't think there's a single sector that we, the people in this audience, the people participating in the Business Summit, aren't involved with." Everything from, we saw yesterday, building the real estate places that business is conducted in, to the supply chains, to managing the risk, and all the way through to production and manufacturing. And what I'm really excited about is to bring together the public safety part of this. So you know there's a couple of fires going in California. We've got this huge contrast at the moment. You know, 20+ people die in Virginia in floods, and we have these massive fires going on in California. And the team that are involved in that from California are actually going to come here this morning and present. So I'm very honored that they would do that. It's an incredible thing. And it's part of what we're trying to do to bring together better partnership between the public sector and the private sector. This partnership is absolutely fundamental to everything we do. It's just not just the public-private safety partnership. It's the way that you are partners in each other's success. And I'm really, really appreciative of the work that our partners do. They sponsor this event. It makes it all possible. You know, AccuWeather, Geodecisions, and others. Microsoft, GS Inc. is part of that. And our social sponsor here, what they have done to provide support as part of that. I think somebody's advancing my slides in the back there. So I'm very much appreciative of all of those people and what they do. When I was sat down thinking about this, I thought about how much being human is part of that. I've had a lot of chance in my life to be involved with amazing people. And one of the big questions we have is, what does it mean to be human? At one level, we're just a bunch of chemicals. We're just a bunch of elements. 97% of what it means to be human at that chemistry level is about 4 things. It's about hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. You know, we're described as carbon-based life forms, and only 3% of us are different, 3% of what we're part of. And for some reason, my slides are all super condensed on the screen. I'll keep going. But think about this, you know, those elements were all born in the stars billions of years ago. And what we did as humans, our imagination allowed us to look into the stars, to quite literally connect the dots and create constellations. Our intellect allowed us to recognize those patterns. We took that and we measured and we mapped them. We continued to the point of analysis and understanding. And today, we've got a new form of wonder We're actually trying to work out how to go there and be amongst the stars, to take humanity in a completely different direction. But I don't believe that what makes us human is our chemistry. I believe what makes us human is our intellect, that ability to imagine, that ability to understand and analyze. And that's absolutely what we do every single day in the spatial industry, with location analytics, with our ability to take these business systems and transform raw pieces of information into insights, deliver that insights into real impact. To do what we're doing with the stars is to think about how could we go on this huge, long journey. And there's been a parallel in industry. In the 1770s, the Industrial Revolution occurred. It was based on steam and water power. It was the first time that humans were ever able to produce something more than man's hands could. We had machines doing it. And 100 years later, along came the production line, and we divided up labor, and we divided up into blocks of time and geography, and suddenly you could produce something in vast quantities and distribute it all over the world. And we created supply chains, and cars came along. We created the physical infrastructure of highways. And then in the 1970s came this digital infrastructure. Industry 3.0 was about now computers and robots, and this ability to produce things time and time again through programmatic systems. And it was the birth of everything that we think about today in business systems. And we're now in the fourth industrial revolution. And it's not just about physical anymore. This is a transformation through digitization. Digitization of every piece of information, business process, and business system that we are engaged and involved with. This is an entirely cyber-physical environment. It's built on 4 pillars: that the information is decentralized and it's assisted, that it's transparent and it's interoperable. So when we talk about interoperability, this is all of these systems talking together. It's built on the Internet of Things and the Internet of People. It's decentralized from the perspective that we can make decisions everywhere. We can have hyper-local decisions compliant with a national organizational standard and policy. It's assisted. So it's not just the robots which are going to help us fight fires and be involved in disaster recovery. This is about machines that learn. This is about the way that we're going to go off and we're going to have cars that drive down the road. Those decisions are going to be made without human intervention. And only when those decisions are too hard for the algorithms behind them will humans be involved. But humans need to be involved because it's transparent in the way that it operates. So we're actually aggregating information to the point that it's transparent. It adds context. And what's important about this revolution is it's based on things that in the GIS industry we're all very familiar with. I talk about there being 12 components of this. Big data, we all understand that. Simulation, being able to run through different models again and again and again. These autonomous objects, drones, vehicles that can come around, pick you up, that you click a button, you don't just get an Uber driver, you get a vehicle that can deliver a package and it knows where the address is. Machines that can sense and understand, that your refrigerator knows not just what you've eaten for dinner, but actually predicts what you're going to want on Thursday, orders it, and somebody turns up at your door with a box that you can cook with. I know my wife would love that. Analytics, really taking information and being able to apply the complex analysis that simplify the human interaction. It's all integrated, machines that learn, that they're on the cloud, that they're real-time streams, that they're taking the complexity of the world and this digital representation and making it easier for humans to operate within it. And this is fantastic, but what does it mean? What it means is place. Place is central to the success of everything in this new digital transformation. And the world that we're part of today, and the world that we're going to increasingly see over the next 6 to 18 months, place is central to this. Because the Internet of everything requires the Internet of everywhere. Everything is going to be based on the idea of position, condition, and time. Position is the ultimate dimension that is always true. Something is always somewhere. It can be measured. It has gone from position A to position B, and it's going to position C. It has a condition that changes over time. Those things are fundamental to the success of this. We are taking the world and we're digitizing it. All of these sensors, all of this information, all of these objects moving through time and space. They have location which is being captured, managed, and maintained. We're increasingly connecting them in ways that we've never done before and making them more and more intelligent. All of the components that I talked about have place as part of them. We'll not be able to drive down the highways without capturing information about what those highways look like, to understand where your vehicle is, to operate within the fog, as it's called, that those vehicles communicate with each other, that we have the cloud with incredible computing powers, those real-time streams that operate, that we can use machine learning to understand the impact of traffic jams, if I keep on this driverless vehicle example, that it can respond in real time, that it can orchestrate traffic lights so we can get 6 times as many vehicles on the road than we do today without increasing the number of roads. That we can augment reality, so as I'm driving down, I can see where the McDonald's that I want to stop at to keep my kids happy while I'm driving. But I can still go back and watch a soccer match and relive the goal that France scored this morning at 6:30 and view it from multiple angles. Or I can get out and say, well, I don't know where I want to eat. Take your phone and look around and see not just a map of where places are, but actually a 3-dimensional view that highlights those different restaurants, and it's learned from your experience, and it tells you where you should eat based on what you've done before. To many people, this is scary, that information is everywhere. And that's the key thing. Information is everywhere because it's all based on place. And it brings up a question, is there a better way? Is there a better way to do this? And this is a question we should all ask ourselves all of the time. I truly believe there is a better way. A better way is to involve us as humans. A better way is to involve the knowledge and the expertise and the vision, the imagination, the intellect, the emotional part of what we all aspire to be here today and throughout our lives. And so one of the things I think is important about what's happening here is this is more than just any one of us. This is more than me, the team that put this together, all of you in the audience, our partners and everything else. This truly is a community. So the biggest thing isn't just coming together. That's the beginning. If we keep together, we can progress. We've seen the progression that's occurred over the last 5 to 10 years in the GIS industry, and particularly in the business area of that, the success of this event. But what's going to make us succeed is actually working together. So my call to action for all of you is to continue to work together, to continue the journey that we've been on, to continue to progress, to continue to understand what it means to be human.